Do you have a small business, a micro business, or a side hustle, and it's been just you operating it, and then maybe you hired a couple of people and everything was going really, really well, and now you're still growing, but service delivery or product creation has not been as consistent as it was when it was just you or just you and your very small team? And you're trying to figure out how to solve that problem and you don't really know what to do, or what you've been doing is just kind of getting rid of people and then hiring more people thinking that would fix the problem. Well, today's video is just for you. I will offer you solutions on how to be able to address that problem so that way you can have consistent growth within your business going forward. Hi, I'm Lauren Wellington. I'm a small business consultant. I'm also a small business owner just like you. And in today's video, I'm really going to lay out how you can handle your service quality control or your product quality control. And it is a quality control issue. Let's be very clear about that. So let me set up the scenario for you. Today, I was working with a small business owner who subcontracts their employees. And for their business, it is a true subcontracting relationship. It's not a person trying to get around paying taxes. These are subcontractors. But the subcontractors deliver the service on behalf of this company. And this company initially started out with just the one small business owner and then a few people working with them to be able to deliver the service. And they were doing an awesome job and people loved them. So they kept getting more and more referral business, to the point where that individual small business owner and then the small little team that they hired couldn't handle the workload. And so they started bringing on more and more subcontractors. And so now the business is at a point where they have a pretty large team of people providing this service. And large, I'm meaning about 20 to 25 people. And that might not be large for a lot of people, but for a little small side hustle that has now grown to a team of 25, that's pretty significant. And even if you were selling something for $20 an hour, you can see that there's some actual revenue coming into that business, right? We got 20 to 25 people. If they're all working part-time and it's $20 an hour, you can see that there's some real cash coming into this business. But also with that, there's starting to be a few poor customer quality reviews, right? The customers are not as pleased as what they were before. And so how does the small business owner resolve that issue? Well, the small business owner has held a team meeting with their entire team to discuss how things should be handled going forward. You know, if this presents itself, you do it like this. If this presents itself, you do it like this. And although that is great and informative, that one-time meeting is not going to be sufficient enough to handle it's not going to be sufficient enough to consistently deliver the high quality of service that has been done before. So what is the solution? The first solution that the small business owner needs to consider is, are you going to continue working full-time? Because that's what they're doing. They're working full-time with the side hustle. Are you going to continue working full-time, or are you going to now step full-time into the business? That's the first decision. Are you going to work full-time with your job, or are you going to work full-time with your business? And there's pros and cons to each of it. Just real briefly, there might be a lot of reasons why you're going to maintain your full-time business or your full-time obligation, and why you can't necessarily go into your business full-time just yet. There also could be just the time where, okay, I'm ready to go into my business full time. And although it's not necessarily yielding 100%, the revenue that I need to be able to replace my salary, it's definitely the responsibilities and the obligations are demanding that as such. And so if I trust that if you go into your business now full time, that the transition will yield higher sales revenue, which will then replace your income. I don't want to say it's a guarantee because I don't want to be held liable to that, but if your business is able to, you can see what your profit is, and if your profit is anywhere between half to almost 75% of your current salary, then going into that business full time, you can get to 100% of your salary, if not more, just by you being there and being able to run it more effectively and efficiently. Okay, so that's step one. Step one is deciding, are you going to stay at your job or stay in your full-time obligations and still kind of run the business over on the side, or are you going to jump into the business full-time? Either way, there's no right or wrong. But let's say that you decide that you're going to stay in your full-time business and you're going to stay in your full-time business. So now you need to figure out, what am I going to do about this quality control issue, right? I have all of these team members. In this particular case, this individual has a lot of team members, and the consistency of quality is just not there. So you need someone to manage the quality control of the product or service delivery. All right, so I'm going to call them a Q&A specialist. You can call them whatever you want. It could be your hiring manager. It could be your office manager. It could be called a business manager. It could be your scheduling manager. I don't really care what you call them. Coordinator. It doesn't really matter. But this individual is really over your quality control. Their Q&A. No, Q&A is question. Your quality control. Q&C. So this individual, their main job is to make sure that the standard that you have established is always achieved. Well, how are they going to do that job? First and foremost, they need to get everything out of your head and put that down to paper, down to video, down to audio, but it needs to become a process. It needs to become a recipe. It needs to become a manual. And then that information needs to be communicated to all of your employees or all of your subcontractors. And it needs to be communicated on a continuous basis, not a one-time meeting, not an onboarding situation, but a continuous basis. And it also needs to occur not as a review when something bad has occurred. It just needs to occur on a continuous basis. This is how we do what we do. And so this is how you measure up to the standard that we have laid out. And so maybe that's why you have a lot of these customer service reviews after when you make a call or when you are reaching out to customer service to your various companies. They're always asking for you to fill out a survey because they want to make sure that the quality is achieved consistently. And the best way to do that is to have an objective process that people can see and measure themselves up against too. The other thing is you have to communicate it out consistently, because people are not going to read memos or emails very detailed. People are not going to on a consistent basis. They're just not going to do it. People's attention spans have been proven that people's attention spans per all of this social media access has shrunken it. So they're not going to do that. So you need to be able to create ways to consistently communicate to your people how they need to get this thing done in a way that meets your standard, period. And that person's job, there's a person whose job that is. That's what they do. Project manager, hiring manager, I don't care, scheduling manager, but that's what they do. And one of their key deliverables when you first hire them is to get all of that information out of your head, and they are to put that into some kind of process. And that process has to make sense to you because you're the one that created the product or the service. Now, if you're still choosing to have that person, then you need to decide, are they part-time or are they full-time? And I am suggesting that if they are some version of part-time, that you consider that they're probably going to go to maybe 32 hours a week if it's on an hourly basis. Maybe they'll go down to 20 some days, but realistically, if you're thinking or budgeting 20 hours a week for this person, they're probably going to go up to 32 hours a week, if not close to full-time, because of the transition that's required. The hours put into the transition from getting it out of your head, or the hours required to transition to where it can be automated or very streamlined, it's going to take effort, and that effort is above and beyond the actual job of quality control. Okay? The other thing is that this person is also going to be responsible for coming up with solutions when hiccups come along the way. They're going to be responsible for addressing the concerns and the rave reviews. That is their job. It's not going to be your job anymore. You should be informed. You should be clued in, definitely. And if you want to, chime in, that's fine. But that is their job. Your job now is going to be focusing on sales, marketing, focusing on planning, focusing on what all the other things, maybe sourcing material, all the other things that go along with your business, because you're now leaving that to someone else. Okay, So now you have the person, you've decided, I want the person, I'm going to stay over here full time, I'm going to stay over here with what I'm doing, I'm going to hire this person. I've now decided to hire this person part time, but I know I'm going to be paying them a little bit more. And then I'm also going to give this person, and this person and I are going to work on creating some kind of process to be able to make sure our product and service is delivered consistently. And this person's also going to come up with a plan to consistently communicate this out to our employees or our subcontractors, so that way we can shore up any weaknesses we have and continue doing the awesome thing that we were doing when this business was just one person or my small team. Okay. That is what I would offer to the person that has a small business that I interacted with today. That is the advice that I would give them. And what I have seen with not just that small business, but with other small business owners, especially when they've started to grow, really, really grow, is they're not always seeing the small nuance of, I need to be able to have the product or service be independently managed and operated from me. And that's important. And it's not so much like an ego thing or anything like that, but if you really want to take your business from this kind of transition period of side hustle or micro business to an actual, nice size revenue company, it has to move away from you and into something that's independent from you, so that way it can continue to be scaled up to meet your other goals and objectives. And if you leave it associated to you, then it's much easier to place blame on the employee or the subcontractor that they're not doing a good job, when in actuality, they may not be doing a good job, but the fact that they missed the mark shows a gap. And your job is to fix and fill the gap, and not with a Band-Aid, to really fix and fill the gap. Now, the employee or the subcontractor definitely needs to address whatever deficiency they have. I'm not saying that it's a scapegoat on that side, but this is specifically advice for the small business owner. You're presented with this challenge, and right now the challenge could be a small little ping, a little bit of an ache, maybe one bad customer review. This is the time that you can make the most of the experience and it not cost you a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of heartache, because you still are full-time somewhere else, and because you still have the capability of hiring someone else, or vice versa, transitioning yourself into the full-time position and being able to outsource some other kinds of skills within your company. So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that you kind of get the point and get the lesson that if your enterprise is moving to a place where the income, like, you might not be getting a lot of profit, but there's a lot more growth, there's a lot more sales, there's a lot more revenue coming in, this may be the time to start building up your team and your staff, so that way this business will become a really thriving enterprise. And I would encourage you to consider, before you hire an assistant, before you hire a marketing specialist, before you hire a full-time financial person, you really focus on hiring someone who can help you manage a high quality deliverable of product or high quality deliverable of service. All right, I hope this video helps you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you tomorrow with another video. Till then, have a good one.